5 types of trauma that can hurt your relationship. Trauma is an intense emotional response, which is often psychologically disturbing and may have severe impacts on the psychological health of the affected individuals, often result in a state of panic, anxiety, or being overwhelmed by an acute sense of not being able to cope, or even a sense of detachment from normal life. It can also develop from other oppressive experiences, such as a critical health condition, loss of a loved one, and exposure or being involved in either physical or emotional abuse. Also, the events which might seem less severe, such as breakups, job loss, can also contribute towards post-traumatic stress response, and such effects of trauma, therefore, intrusively penetrate areas of life, including relationship bonds. Jenna Hennessy, PhD, a licensed clinical psychologist at Columbia University Irving Medical Center, emphasizes that traumatic experiences can manifest themselves differently and, as a result, change a person's behavior fundamentally, as well as emotional reactions that cause stress on partnerships and families. So, let's explore specific types of trauma that can particularly disrupt relationships and work towards healthier, more supportive relationships. 1. Childhood trauma. Childhood trauma refers to a traumatic event experienced with some sort of abuse or observing violence in the home. As individuals grow into adulthood, childhood trauma may manifest in numerous ways as they relate in their adulthood. For instance, a child who grew up in an environment where he or she was neglected may have difficulty in expressing him or herself when it comes to making a request because he or she feels that he or she will not be attended to or get the attention he or she desires, like the child used to get attention when he or she was young. Similarly, a person who sees conflict often might either go out of his or her way to avoid conflict or might be prone to wanting to pick a fight. Recognizing the signs of unresolved childhood trauma in oneself or a partner can affect relationship dynamics, like overreacting to minor slights or criticisms, difficulty maintaining close relationships, a pervasive sense of insecurity in relationships, intense fear of abandonment that doesn't match the reality of the situation, subconsciously choosing partners who recreate the familiar but unhealthy patterns of childhood. These are some of the concerns which should be addressed, and it is advisable for one to seek assistance and work together to begin the process of laying solid relational foundations for the next generations. 2. Relationship trauma. Relationship trauma is defined as a condition where distress that is related to the experience of relationship impairs the psychological well-being. Some of the examples of the symptoms of relationship trauma include betrayal, psychological abuses such as emotional mistreatment and cheating. These experiences result in emotional pain and erode basic trust within relationships that are supposed to be healthy, because survivors of this form of trauma seem to have a hard time trusting their partners and become very sensitive or overprotective, or represent harmless intentions as potential harm. For instance, one will have trust issues with his counterpart, such as experiencing jealousy or anxiety in case of being cheated on in the future, even though the current companion is not a cheater. Thus, after a toxic breakup or betrayal and working on reconstructing the trust and getting over the person and their abuse or deceit takes time and effort, which sometimes may involve the help of therapists. Here are some ways that can be helpful. First and foremost, establish a habit of open, honest, and respectful communication. Each partner should be clear about what they are and are not comfortable with, as this promotes respect and mutual understanding. Both partners must be patient with each other and themselves as they navigate traumatic ups and downs. 3. Trauma from loss. It is depressing that loss pervades human life and can heavily impact individuals, leaving deep traces and causing post-traumatizing frustration all over one's life, be it the loss of the life mate, the family house, the job, or any immediate family member. These events may cause deep grieving and, if not dealt with, various other stress-related mental health problems may ensue. Judging the sign of grief in relationships, one might experience withdrawal, irritability, and things like lack of supportiveness towards partners. Several measures one can take to cope with grief include seeking professional help from the counselor, or joining a support group, or engaging in individual analysis to be able to overcome the incidents that lead to immediate grief. Acceptance that sadness is a natural and healthy part of losing someone we have cherished gives a bereaved person an opportunity to accept the pain and, in essence, pave way for healing, thereby protecting and enhancing the ability to form and maintain healthy, interdependent relationships. 4. Physical or sexual abuse trauma. The years of research shows that physical and sexual abuse damages people severely, deeply impacting their psychological well-being and their capacity to establish healthy relationships. It is extremely difficult for survivors of such abuse to have normal relationships because during what could be physical intimacy, they experience fear, flashback, or aversion. As for inter versus interpersonal dynamics, defining and preserving one's personal space is far from an easy task, as one's trust in others' ability to acknowledge and/or disrespect it might be severely impaired. To achieve these goals of recovery, psychotherapy and support groups are among the most important interventions. CBT and EMDR have been some of the most effective treatment methodologies showcased as the best practices in the healing process. Moreover, the importance of support groups is that it can provide the survivors with the much-needed social confirmation, hence, enhance their confidence in interpersonal relations. It means that, with these resources, the survivors can be given the power to heal and recover their emotional and relational well-being as well. 5. Emotional and psychological trauma. Psychological or emotional abuse is a type of abuse that happens when one is exposed to negative stimuli for a long stretch, such as being bullied or constantly criticized, or in an environment with constant fear of violence. It became clear to me that these sorts of experiences often do not come with bruises. They may scar the mind and affect relationships. Such trauma often results in the inability to trust other people, overly sensitive response to statements and comments, and increased likelihood of developing a fear of rejection. These issues can cause severe negotiated tension in the strongest partnership due to the survivor's inability to cope well with close interpersonal relationships, or act defensively, or perhaps even avoidantly. To tackle this challenge, there is need to be able to identify symptoms that need to be supported and seek help. This consequently means that therapy can effectively give a person a platform on which such traumas can be deciphered, hence, man being able to restore his capability of trusting other people and engaging with them in a healthy manner. Tough techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and narrative therapy can be quite effective in dealing with overcoming emotional abuse, reintegrating the patients back into normal social statuses. Conclusion. In this video, we explored 5 critical types of trauma: childhood, relationship, loss, physical or sexual abuse, and emotional or psychological, each significantly affecting relationship health. Addressing these traumas is crucial not only for personal well-being, but also for maintaining healthy, supportive relationships, because when traumatized people either confront the distressing issue up close, or when both parties to a relationship apply efforts to develop a healthy pattern of interaction, people can certainly rebuild their capacity for loving. Thus, we encourage anyone affected by these issues to seek professional help and explore support networks. Remember, resilience and recovery are possible with the right resources and support, and healing begins with taking that first step towards help. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video to support more content like this. Thank you for watching. Drop your experiences and thoughts in the comments to create a ripple of sharing. Hit that subscribe button for more heart-to-heart talks. And hey, join our social media family for more vibrant stories, insights, and add a unique thread to our growing community.